Hi, hello. It's that time of the week again. Welcome to Rafe Reviews. I am Rafe and I'm going to review all of the weekend's action, have a quick look at the predictions Joe and I made out in last week's pod and see how we got on. Going through the games in order of how they happened, we'll start in Bournemouth, where they impressively saw off Manchester United 1-0. United, let's not beat around the bush, were quite average. They had won 3 games in a row going into this on the road, and I'd actually backed them to continue that winning run. I'd gone for 2-1. Joe had thought it might be a 2-all draw. Bournemouth obviously got the win 1-0. Fantastic finish from Josh King after he flicked the ball over the head of the United defender. It wasn't a great game. There were probably more chances for Bournemouth than anything, and they continue to impress. I know they've been on a bit of a barren run heading into that game. They'd gone 2 or 3 games without scoring any goals, and even though the strikers weren't 100% clinical, they still managed to get the job done today, or not today, even on Saturday. United were very, very, very poor though. Martial back in the starting lineup. I know himself and Rashford normally have a fantastic win percentage when the two of them play, but the midfield behind them just offered absolutely nothing. Ashley Young looked like an absolute dinosaur getting up and down the left wing, or left wing back, whatever position you call that. He looks totally past it. Way too old. The pace in midfield was absolutely painful to watch. I know that United have been doing well recently on the counter attack, but when they have the ball and when they're tasked with breaking down an opposition, they really don't look up to the task. I mean, there's still so much work to do with that team. They find themselves now 10th in the table level with Spurs, Wolves and West Ham on 13 points. It's not good enough from them. They'd expect much more, especially considering the amount of money they've spent in recent years on players, but they still look so far off the mark. So yeah, neither Joe or I got that one right. Next game was Arsenal versus Wolves. Joe had gone for a 2-1 home win, the Arsenal in him. I had a more level-headed approach and said 2-2 draw. The game obviously was a draw. It was 1-1. Arsenal taking the lead through their captain for the day, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I'm not going to talk about Arsenal captains. I don't have it in me. And Wolves getting a late equaliser through Raul Jimenez. And I mean, Wolves looked the better team in this game. Let's not kid ourselves. They played really well. I mean, Arsenal had chances. They didn't have a whole lot of chances. They look like a team totally disorganised. Ozil seemed to do well in flashes, but I mean, Wolves, we said going into the game that they thrive on this kind of atmosphere, going to big teams that they know they're not going to have a lot of the ball, trying to hit them on the break. And if it wasn't even for a couple of good saves from Leno, one from Ruben Neves from outside the box, and then there was another one straight outside the box as well, they could easily have lost this game. I don't hold out a lot of hope for Arsenal. I think things are going to continue to get worse before they get better. But that's a good result for Wolves, considering they had been sliding a little bit going into that one. The European form seemed to have been affecting them. So good to see them get back on track. 1-0 to Rafe, obviously calling the draw. Aston Villa hosted Liverpool in another 3 p.m. kickoff. Joe had gone for 3-0. I had gone for 2-1. I said it would be a tight game. Liverpool may be scoring a late winner, which is exactly, well, they scored 2 late goals. Should have had a third goal. For me, Roberto Firmino's was chalked off for offside. His armpit appeared to be offside, which is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, anyone that watched it and watched the replays back would say that he was at least level, if not onside, but the crooked VAR lines seem to have him as offside somehow. I won't talk too long about VAR. Liverpool haven't been playing especially well. I know that sounds absolutely absurd for a team that have 31 points after 11 games, but I mean, they haven't looked convincing in so many games. But I say they haven't looked convincing. They've always looked like they're going to win. Even at 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, I was watching this saying, they're going to get 1, and when they get 1, they're going to get 2. They have this mindset, this belief that there's just nothing that they cannot do. You look at all the late points they picked up last year, the Barcelona win, the Everton draw, the Spurs win this year, the Leicester win this year. They just always back themselves to go on and score late goals. Sadio Mane scored his 3rd injury time winner of the year. so far. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. Third injury time goal this season. Yeah, mentality monsters. Aston Villa actually look very, very good. Even without Jack Grealish, they defend. Well, I say they look very good. They had 25% possession. They scored from a set piece, but I mean they defended. Their shape was good, and they really did frustrate Liverpool. But Liverpool obviously smashing the door down in the end. I'll take that one with a perfect score, leaving me 2-0 up. Anyway, good luck, Joe. Um, Brighton and Hove Albion hosted Norwich City in a game that finished 2-0 to the hosts. I had said it was going to be 3-1, and Joe actually got that one spot on, said it was going to be 2-0. Brighton look very, 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 very good, especially at home. They play proper football, and Norwich couldn't be more contrasting. They have now taken 1 point from their last 6 games. Team of Pukki hasn't scored since that win away to Manchester City 7 games ago. They really don't look like they're going to get goals from anywhere. They are missing their first 3 centre backs, and the problems look like, again, they're going to get worse there before they get better. I predicted that they would stay up when we started this pod, but it really doesn't look that way at the minute. Anyway, 2-1 to me. Man City hosted Southampton, coming off the back of a 9-0 loss. We all thought it was going to be an absolute hiding again. Joe said 5-0 City, I said 4-0 City. It was in fact 2-1 with another late winner coming there. Southampton looked pretty decent in this game. The goalkeeper, Alex McCarthy, came in to replace Gunn, who obviously conceded those goals more as a protection that he wasn't going to leak a load of goals again in the next game out. And I wasn't convinced by him. He made a few good saves, but he looked very, very ropey at times, and maybe could have done it even better for the first goal that went through his legs. Anyway, I'm not going to criticise him too much for the second one, but the first one went straight through his legs from about 8 yards out, and I don't think any professional goalkeeper would be too happy with that. Yeah, but City keep going too. Pep Guardiola came out after the game and said that actually he wasn't interested in talking about City. He was only interested in talking about Liverpool and Sadio Mane picking up a yellow card for diving, which is bizarre. But he didn't want to talk about his own team, especially with midweek matches in the Champions League. He was incredibly petulant for the whole game. Guardiola, he looks like a man under pressure at the minute. I know they're second place, 25 points, but not under pressure for his job, just a man under pressure. He's used to getting things his own way and winning, and he doesn't look comfortable the way things are at City at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep his shit together. Sheffield United, Joe and I will split the points there. I know I predicted a 4-goal win. Joe predicted a 5-goal win. I'm gonna call it even though I was slightly closer. Sheffield United hosted Bournemouth and absolutely whacked them. 3-0 was the final score. Joe predicted a Sheffield United win 2-1, and I'd actually said it was going to be a 0-0 draw. They were playing Burnley. Apologies. Yeah, points for Joe on the board there. That brings it to 2-2. I mean, Sheffield United were good. Were really, really good. We've spoken about them a couple of times, especially at home as well. Like Brighton, play really, really decent football. They're really difficult to beat. Burnley, I think, actually looked like they had a lot of the ball in this game, and it didn't suit them. They didn't seem to have done their homework properly on Sheffield United, and Sheffield just absolutely ripped them apart on the break. Burnley failed to have a shot on target in that game. Worrying signs for Sean Dyche. Burnley find themselves now 14th, 4 points off 18th place Southampton, whereas Sheffield United move up to an unbelievable 6th, level with Bournemouth, 1 point behind Arsenal. So the sky is obviously the limit for the Blades there. Yeah, really, really good. They were really impressive from back to front, and you could not fault them. Someone that you could fault though is West Ham, who looked absolutely appalling as they hosted Newcastle. Joe had said it was going to be a 2-1 West Ham win. I had said it was going to be a 3-0 West Ham win because Newcastle are absolutely rubbish. And don't get me wrong, Newcastle weren't great. They scored 2 goals from set pieces early on. Sam Maximum made a couple of breaks, but I mean he couldn't finish his dinner. He was clean through on goal twice. Couldn't put the ball away. They could have been 5-0 up at half time. West Ham were so poor. But They did take a 3 goal lead in with them at half time. Sheffield United got 2 back. Later on in the second half, nearly got themselves back in the game. Sheffield United, no, not Sheffield. West Ham were absolutely rubbish last week at Everton as well, and Everton are not great either. They could have been absolutely hosed by Everton. They could have been absolutely hosed at home by Newcastle. They've managed to get themselves back into this game with a couple of goals they probably didn't deserve. From a team that looks so confident and so talented at the start of the year, I have no idea what's happened to them. It's a brilliant result for Newcastle. Steve Bruce continues to do a better job than Rafa was doing last year. Whether or not the fans will actually start applauding him and maybe stop booing him at some stage, we'll see. I don't know that they can hope for much better because he does seem to be doing a job there. But I mean, really worrying signs for that West Ham side, who we mentioned are now 13th level, of course, on points with Wolves United, and only 5 points off the drop zone. Watford took on Chelsea in the evening kickoff on Saturday. Joe had predicted a 1-1 draw, and I had said a 2-0 win for Chelsea. That has obviously gone my way. It was 2-0 to Chelsea. They got the win, and this is another team that could have been absolutely miles out in front. Poor finishing on the day, but Chelsea's could have scored 4 or 5. They look really, really, really good. As we say this every week, that they look really, really worrying, threatening going forwards. They still struggled a little bit at the back. Gave up a couple of chances. I know they're missing Kante. Rudiger's due back in the team soon, but yeah, they just look so good playing forwards, going forwards, playing football. Yeah, look, they were fantastic anyway. Fair play to them, and I can't see anyway that Arsenal are going to catch them or Leicester. I think the top 4 is pretty much locked in now as it is. It'll be those guys fighting it out to see where they can go. And I mean, Leicester and Chelsea are only 2 points off City. Let's not forget this. This isn't a 2-horse race. If City get a result at Liverpool next week, that gap comes down to 3 off the top. And I mean, Leicester and Chelsea could only be 5 points off the lead next week. So it's definitely one to play for up the top. Chelsea, Pulisic looks really, really good again. I think Joe's going to do a little piece on him. Abraham could have had 3 or 4. Callum Hudson-Odoi will struggle to get into that team despite all the qualities that he has, because of the form of Pulisic recently. Mason Mount looks really, really good again. Jorginho seems to be, well, I know he looked like a good player last year, but he was doing the wrong job. He was doing the job the manager asked him to do. But I mean, I think Frank's got him playing a much more attractive brand of football this year, playing forwards a lot more, and it really does seem to suit them. Chelsea are probably the most exciting team to watch in the league at the minute in terms of the football they play and in terms of the excitement at either end. So I always love watching that one. Palace hosted Leicester City in a game that Leicester won 2-0. We had both actually predicted Leicester wins by 1 goal. Joe had said 2-1, I had said 1-0. They did, of course, get a late second goal there. We'll share the points on that one then. Palace actually looked quite good in the first half, and are maybe unlucky not to have taken a goal or 2 from the game. Zaha looked absolutely fantastic, some of the forward passes that he was playing. But the Leicester machine does not stop. They keep picking up points, keep picking up wins on the road. Brendan Rodgers is doing such a fantastic job there. He's got a really good group of players. Jamie Vardy, 10 goals, top scorer in the league. Yeah, the Leicester are the real deal, and definitely ones to keep an eye on. Finally, Everton played Spurs and the Sunday evening kickoff. That was a game that finished 1-1. Joe had called a draw in that game. He said 2-2. I had said 2-1 to Spurs. Spurs obviously were leading going into stoppage time. 12 minutes of stoppage time, and they made a mess of it. I don't want to talk too long about the injury to Andre Gomez. Obviously, we hope he's okay. His surgery was meant to have gone well yesterday. They're saying it might not be. Saying it might be only 4, 5, 6 months out, which would be fantastic because it did look really, really nasty. We'll talk a little bit about VAR in that game. I mean, I don't think Son should have been sent off, whether or not that was VAR influenced or not. Ali again got away with a ridiculous handball in the build up to a goal. That's twice this season now he's caught the ball and he's not been done. And yeah, it was also a rubbish game of football. Absolutely dirt. A rotten game of football. I mean, both of those sides are so poor. So poor. Everton had nothing about them for the whole game. Spurs had nothing about them for the whole game. I mean, the goal that Spurs scored was, like I said, Ali caught it in the build up. It should